Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today I have another block for you. This one is called Apple Pie, and here is my block. So this is a real simple block, really good for beginners. The only unit in it is the flying geese unit. The rest is square in the center and then rectangles. So I hope you'll stay with me and I'll show you how to make the apple pie block. Okay, here are the fabrics that you're going to need to make the apple pie block. For A, you will need one 4.5 inch square. For B, you'll need four 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. C will be 8 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. D is for 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles, and E will be 16 2.5 inch squares. And you'll want to draw a diagonal line on the wrong side of all your E squares. So I'm going to adjust the camera and we'll get started sewing the apple pie block. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is to make the flying geese unit. So we have 8 of those to make, and that will be the C rectangles and the E squares. And now the E squares are background squares. I have a low volume print that I'm using because I ran out of my background fabric and I can't find the same kind that I was using, so I'm using scraps again. These are all Lori Holt fabrics from various different collections. So I'm going to sew the right square on first, and that diagonal line is going to go from the top center to the bottom right hand corner, and then I'm going to sew right on that drawn line. And I'm going to chain piece all of these together to speed things up. So I'm going to do the right side on each one of these. Okay, now I'm going to clip all of these apart, and then I'm going to trim off the outer corner and press that triangle back, and then sew the squares onto the opposite side. So I'll show you here in a second. And you can use your rotary cutter, of course. I'm just going to use scissors because they're here. So here we go. I'm just going to press this back, and then we'll have this, and then I'll sew on the other squares. But I'm going to go ahead and trim all these first, and then I'll press, and then we'll go to the next side. All right, so those are all done. So I've got a stack of them here. And we're going to sew the square onto the opposite side. So that drawn line goes from the top center to the bottom left hand corner. And we're going to sew these on. Okay, so here are all my flying geese units. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to sew these flying geese units together in sets of 2. So we're going to sew them together like this, and just set them however you want, whichever unit you want on the top. I'm going to set the one with the point on the top so I can watch that. I'm going to try and sew just to the top of that, just to the right side of that point, so that I don't cut it off. So let me show you what that looks like. See if I did a good job with this or not. Okay, that looks pretty good. Once I get it pressed, it'll look fine. So this is what I'm looking for. So I need 4 sets of these, and then I'm going to press so that the seam is up away from the point of the goose. So it's going to go that way. So we're going to do 4 sets. Okay, so we have 4 sets of the flying geese units. So now we need to sew the B and the D rectangles together, and this will be along the long side. So this is easy sewing, and this will make our center side units. Okay, so here are those pieces. So now we're ready to lay out the block to sew it into rows. So let's adjust the camera and we'll get everything laid out. Okay, so we are all ready to lay out the block, and we've got our flying geese units, we've got our rectangular units, which are center side units, and then we have the actual center, which is our A piece. So for the first row, we have a flying geese going towards the right, my right, and then these rectangular units, the red piece is going to go towards the center, and then these flying geese units are going to go down. They're facing down towards me, and then another rectangle unit on each side here. Get it where we can see it in the screen. Here we go. Okay, and then on this side, this one is going to go up, red towards the center, and then this one's going to go to the left. You see these flying geese, they're kind of going around in a circle, so they're pointing towards each other. So this is the block. So I'm going to sew all the rows, all the pieces into rows, and then sew all the rows together. Okay, I'm going to sew the first 2 pieces of each row together, and then I'll add the third. Okay, now we're going to sew the rows together, and I'm going to pin the seams so that they will nest together here. And so I've got 3 seams here that meet, so I'm going to pin all of those. Okay, so here are rows 1 and 2. Let's add row 3. So the block is complete. I'm going to press and then we'll take a closer look at it. Okay, here's the completed block, and I think that turned out really well. It was really easy to do. The only unit you have are these flying geese units. The rest are squares and rectangles. So it's real simple. Mix the colors however you want. I know in the diagram in the pattern I have this as a pink, but I didn't have enough of that fabric to make the block, so I switched over to blue. So the red carries over here and the pink goes with red, so we're doing fine. And I think the background is very subtle, so I think it worked out just fine. So anyway, I hope you'll give this block a try. Okay, that is it for the apple pie block. So that one went together really easily. It's just those flying geese blocks. It's all there is to it with rectangles. So I hope you'll give this block a try. Now if you like this video, please click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you'll be notified when the next video comes up. And in the meantime, I hope you are all staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.